And welcome back to the North Shore Event Centre for the Under-19 National Championship men's semi-finals between Palmerston North and Canterbury. My name's Morgan Maskell and with me is Josh Davis.
How's it going?
Yeah, we're all right here. The crowd's starting to build today. So Manawatu went through pool play undefeated. Their closest game was a 6-point victory over Harbour V, 85-79. And on the other side, we're looking at Canterbury. They also went through pool play undefeated, and their closest game was a 5-point win over Wellington. We'll take a look at the two sides now. And we're seeing Manawatu side. They're led by junior Tall Blacks, Callum McRae. They've also got Caleb Barrett, Cooper Boyce Towler, Hayes Walker, Lachlan Scott, Matanurei Hapakno, Michael Welch, Nico Tangaroa, Oscar Oswald, Peter Wilkie, Rangimori Mita, and Tama Famosili. Head coach Tia Tamata Frost.
And for Canterbury, we have Ben Harris, Fletcher Arnold, Hamish McDonald, who's been a New Zealand rep this age group. He'll be a good player tonight. Hayden Collier, Isaiah Harris, Joel Jeffrey, Max de Geese, the sharpshooter, Max Darling, the transfer from Tasman, who's also will be a dominating physical presence today, looking to rock the rim, I'm sure. And then the big marquee name is Quinn Clinton, who's recently signed with St. Mary's in Division I American college basketball, and they're a big-time sort of repeat NCAA tournament appearance team, and that's a big moment for him. And they've also got Sean Kelly, and the coach is Glenn Lang.
Yeah, so a lot of great players here in this game. As Josh alluded to, a lot of junior Tall Blacks, a lot of guys that have either signed on to Division I colleges or are about to sign on to Division I colleges. So a lot of talent, and we're getting to the tail end of the tournament, and we're going to see these great teams go at it. One of the key battles today will be between Manawatu's 7-foot behemoth Callum McRae and Max Darling. Max, of course, is a good 8 inches shorter, but his width and his force that he has in his game will be huge for Canterbury as we see the team shaking hands and lining up for the tip to start the game. Starting for Manawatu, we see number 32 Cooper Boyce Towler and 00 Oscar Oswald starting at the 3 and 4. We see Tama Famosili and number 11 Hapak now starting on the wings, and Hayes Walker at point.
And for Canterbury, we have Max Darling, Max de Geest. Who else do we have there? Quinn Clinton, of course. Hamish McDonald. And there we go. Straight away, easy basket for Canterbury. And again, that matchup inside will be huge. Max Darling versus Callum McRae. Very an interesting contrast in styles, completely different athletes. And here we go.
Yeah, see Quinn Clinton, the St. Mary's recruit, with the ball now. He's put a lot of muscle on over the last year. Yeah, absolutely. And he's been playing NBL basketball for the last 2 years
That'll
now.
make the difference. That'll do it.
Oh, absolutely, with Canterbury Rams, as we see Max de Geese get off the three-point shot there. Doesn't fall, but he's a sharp shooter to watch out for.
Hamish McDonald, he can put the ball in the basket, that is for sure. That is something that Manawatu will need to watch out for today, as Manawatu look to get into that early breakers transaction.
Oswald.
Oscar Oswald. Beautiful, beautiful pull-up mid-range. He's got the whole offensive arsenal. He can shoot from three, he can take it to the hoop, and he's got that in-between game. He's someone Canterbury are going to have to watch out for.
And we see now they've got a bit of a shuffle set going on. They set a middle on ball, and they can't quite get a clean jump shot off, but McDonald's so good that for him, he thinks that's a good shot where he can take that contested jump shot. And you see an equally contested jump shot. They're down there for Walker, but this is the skill level we're looking at. These players can really knock down those shots.
Really, when you look at it, every position, there's someone who is an offensive threat. Hayes Walker has also been in and amongst the New Zealand setup as well, and he's liable to go up for big numbers.
And you see Canterbury running shooters off a floppy set. They're looking at pin down screens on each side. And it allows Quinn Clinton, their point guard, to really just be in the middle and even perhaps get isolation on it, because you have to pay so much attention to their shooters.
Yeah, and that just opens up the court for Quinn Clinton, and once he gets into the paint, he can obviously finish, he can distribute, and you have to be up on him and watch his three-point threat. He is a huge threat from the perimeter.
Yeah, we just saw Oscar Oswald try and take it to the rack against Max de Geest. That's a matchup they'll look to exploit. Max for his shooting ability. Oscar will think he can take him on defense. They hit it out to Cooper Boyce-Towler for a corner three. Unfortunately, front rim, and Max Darling ends up with that rebound. Canterbury looking to initiate their offense. It'll be interesting to see what sets they run. Obviously not quite as big as Palmerston North.
You have to watch out for that, though. He's playing at the 4 position, it seems, but he is liable to take those big players off the dribble, and that's something that Manawatu will have to watch out for, using that athleticism.
Yeah, I mean, the scout on Max Darling is that you want to make him shoot. He might take umbrage with that he might want to take a few three-point shots, but his bread and butter is inside, whether it be big dunks, big blocks, or just finishes inside like that. And Canterbury coach not happy with that, but the referees adjudicated a moving screen on that play, which gives the ball back to Manawatu for them to set up their offense. We see Hayes Walker bringing the ball up. They reverse the ball via Cooper Boyce-Towler. Oswald frees up off that screen for a three.
They're not shy, are they? They are going to let it go from the perimeter. They're going to get up and down, and they're going to look to really get those shots up.
And they're running that breaker trans offense right now as Collier hands it off to the Geest. And now they're in the hands of Quinn Clinton. Middle on ball with Darling, late shot clock. And he's going to take that, and they're going to live and die by that. Good
they're not going to be sorry about Quinn Clinton taking a shot off the dribble like that. That's his bread and butter, and he's got the green light at this level especially.
And it's great for Canterbury. You see they're putting shooters around him, Hamish McDonald and Max de Geest. You can't help off those shooters, because the minute you help off those shooters, Quinn has the basketball IQ to make sure that they get hit. As Hayes Walker pulls up the three in Hamish McDonald's face, putting Manawatu up 9-6 on the early goings of this game here. And that's the second time they've done that. They've just given it to Darling, and they've just had 4 out and let Darling try and take his man off the dribble. Canterbury obviously have taken a look at the defense of Cooper Boyce-Towler and said, I don't think that any of their players can defend Max Darling going to the rim, because he's just that strong.
And again, having all those shooters around him as well is going to give Max Darling lots of space to take it to the hoop as Oscar Oswald splashes the three.
And they're going to have to watch out for that. Both teams have very capable shooters.
Speaking of which,
you see, Max de Geest,
he's not shy.
Misses. No, none of these kids should be shy shooting a three if they're left open. And right now we're seeing both defenses not really fighting through these screens that well, and they're leaving these shooters open. As we see Oswald again with space to shoot, chooses not to take it this time. And they give Falmasili space to shoot this time. Dances on the rim and misses.
That's an area of the game that Max de Geest will need to work on. He's one of the best three-point shooters you'll see at this age group in New Zealand, and if he can add that ability to finish through contact and around those rim protectors, that'll take his game to another level. Certainly
that's the scout. And you get to this level and each player has an undeniable strength. And his is three-point shooting. He's one of the best in the country, and he's an elite three-point shooter. So they're going to look to take away his three-point shot and make him drive. It'll probably be about the team that can make their weaknesses work for them, and that can make their strengths work for them, even in spite of a scout. As we see a huge block from Collier on Cooper Boyce-Towler. Great rim protection. We've seen Manawatu hit threes, but can they get anything going inside?
Yeah, that'll be the difference. It's all well and good shooting those threes, but you need to get something going to the rim that opens up your three-point shooting, and they'll have to make Canterbury honest at the rim. Well, I really thought Max was going to throw that down there. That's something where
he's capable of it, isn't he?
Yes, we're going to see that today. That's why people will turn up to see Max Darling play. He can throw down on top of people, and he's exciting to watch.
The offensive talent on display is formidable, and what you're going to have to see is which defense is good enough to take away the other team's strength. Right, and then that was far too easy, to be frank, for Canterbury. Quinn Clinton enters the lane. There's no one catching, tagging or clipping Collier as he dives to the rim. Someone rotates late and then leaves Darling wide open, so the rotations weren't really quite there either.
They've got to be ready to help the helper, especially with someone as intelligent as Quinn Clinton. He's going to make the right play every single time, and if you're not in the appropriate help position, he's going to make you pay for it.
You see, as we saw Oswald go to the rim there, and he's one of the players that can shoot it and go to the rim and play defense, which is why he's so valuable at this level. And he's getting so much
cannot let that
interest.
happen. Again, it's helping off those Canterbury shooters. That's a problem. If you're allowing that dribble penetration and you're having to help off those shooters, that's where you're going to be in trouble defensively.
Collier once again showing that he's capable of protecting the rim with his length, forcing Hayes Walker for a tough shot, but he's adjudicated to have made some contact, and we'll see Hayes Walker go to the line for 2 shots.
It's an interesting one from a coaching perspective. The scouting report would have been make sure Hayes Walker doesn't go to his left. So you're gonna make sure if you want to have your court time, you're going to make sure that Hayes Walker's not getting to the left, because you're going to get yanked pretty quickly if you allow that to happen.
Yeah, knowing your scouts as you get to this level, as you get to the college level or the NBL level, very important, as we see Walker knock those down. We're seeing the entrance of Rangimarie Mitta now for Palmerston North, as Hapagno sits down, and an errant pass there from Canterbury, and that's really the first slip-up there for Canterbury. We're seeing a really good standard of basketball. The first turnover of the game, 7 minutes in for Canterbury. It's excellent offense as we see Walker initiate an on-ball screen with Boyce Towler, and he's a great on that pull-up jumper.
Be interesting to see what kind of look Canterbury want to get now. It's been interesting to see Quinn Clinton sort of warm his way into the game. I'm sure he'll be a lot more aggressive as the game goes on.
Running a little horn set now, so Canterbury's got 2 bigs at the top on the elbows extended and allowing their point guards to come off that. And you see Max de Geese got a very easy drive but wasn't able to finish. An excellent pass, dump-off pass from Mitta to Boyce Towler, but he's not able to finish amongst heavy traffic. McDonald gets open for a 3. Canterbury will be very happy with that shot. And you see Coach Tamata Frost is not happy with his team's defensive transition, giving up a wide-open 3 to a known, capable 3-point shooter in junior tall black, Hamish McDonald.
No, you don't want to give those open transition 3s. As the game expands to a more modern style, especially at youth level, you're sort of taught to protect the rim in transition, but once you get to this level, under 19s, high school, college, you need to be able to find those sharpshooters in transition. Speaking of which, there it is.
What we saw just then is McDonald caught the ball in the corner. He was quite open, and no one carried a hand on him, but he found Quinn Clinton, and Palmerston North also didn't carry a hand on him either. You've got to have hands up on a shooter. You've got to know that they're willing to shoot, and you need to take it away from them. As we see Mitta in the middle, he swings the ball back to Walker, under a lot of pressure from McDonald. 2 seconds on the shot clock. Walker pulls up. Clinton pushing in transition now.
So much control. Oh,
you don't see that very often from Clinton, but he sliced through the key very easily and had the smarts, not to sulk about his miss, but to get in the perfect position for the offensive rebound, what he got, put it back in.
And you even see his sense of timing and poise in transition, not necessarily sprinting, but weighing his options, hesitating, making the defense go look for other people, and then finding his driving lane. He's such an intelligent, high IQ basketball player.
As we see Mitta miss a 3 there. Mitta has moved up to Palmerston North from Wellington over the last year. So he was a Wellington under-19 rep player in previous years, one of their key players. And this year he's going to Palmerston North Boys High School, so adds yet another guard for their arsenal as they look to go 1 better than last year. They finished 2nd last year in the Secondary School National Championship. And they're going to try and go first place this year. As we see Canterbury get an inbound pass, Collier setting a middle on-ball screen for de Geest. And Clinton has the ball up top now.
And this is a safe bet if you're ever in trouble offensively. Just get Quinn Clinton in a high on-ball and then go to work out of that.
They really had nothing going there, and not a lot of player movement, not a lot of ball movement, but get the ball in the hands of your best player.
That's a proven recipe for success.
What was that you were saying on the scouting report earlier about Hayes Walker?
I think he goes left. I'm thinking he goes left.
And that's the thing when you get to this level. Maybe you know what they're going to do, but can you actually take it away? Are you capable of taking it away? And Hayes, a very quality player, been in the New Zealand system a lot. People know he wants to go left. He can still go left on you. Boyce Taylor almost ensuring extra possession for Canterbury, which is vital in a game like this. But Max Darling showing his rebounding chops there as Quinn Clinton slows it down for one shot. Very good. I
assume we'll get to see a high on ball here and then just see Quinn Clinton make a decision, or they're going to go ISO.
He sees a matchup he likes with Lockie Scott, and he's going to take that and hit it. He understands the game of basketball, and that is a good thing for Canterbury.
It certainly is. That's what you want in a point guard, someone who can see the court as they are a coach, and he found that matchup and exploited it expertly.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, we're seeing more and more in the modern basketball game, a big emphasis on ball movement, taking good shots, which more and more we're seeing on the three-point line. But even at every level, isolation basketball, especially in the fourth quarter, especially at the end of quarters, still very important. And that a lot of that is involved in just moving until you get a matchup you like.
That's what most of the game is now. Use that pick and roll, wait till the defense switches, and then try and find that mismatch that you think you have the best chance of exploiting.
And as we've said, with all the prodigal talent out there offensively, that's a matchup he likes. Lockie Scott playing him. As we see in the Palmerston North huddle now, Coach Tamata Frost really urging his troops to be a little better defensively. I mean, you got to say it was a little easy for Quinn Clinton that quarter. They didn't really make anyone do anything they didn't want to do. Everyone was able to just pick their preferred option and do it. So their defense has really got to step up. The other thing you can say about Palmerston North is they shot the ball well that quarter, but can they get inside and finish against Collier and Darling?
Yeah, that'll be the key for them, because they have resorted a bit, other than a couple of Hayes Walker drives to the rim, they haven't really been able to get that penetration and get into the teeth of the defense. If they can get to the hoop and finish over Darling, then that opens up the rest of their game. Another interesting factor, Callum McRae is not yet to enter the game, and we're one quarter into the game, and so that is, I don't know if he's injured or if that's strategy, but that'll be an interesting storyline going forward.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, McRae's a very interesting player. I mean, he's always been very big, which is valuable in the game of basketball, goes without saying. But he's not always been the most effective player. He had a breakout performance in the final last year in the secondary school nationals. Had one of the best halves of his life.
He's the second coming of Shaquille O'Neal.
He's been going from height to height since then. He's been very effective against Australia for the Junior Tall Blacks, and he will be a centrepiece of Palmerston North Boys High School this year as they look to go one better and they look to get become champions this year on their home ground. So yeah, very interesting that he's not been in the game. We've seen Cooper Boyce Taylor and Oscar Oswald have the majority of the minutes at the 4 and 5, and at some point they'll need a rest, and they've got a Junior Tall Black big on the bench, so they're probably capable of giving them rest. Yeah,
again, it will be interesting to see if that is a matchup decision. Maybe they don't think that he matches up well with the pace of Max Darling, or potentially just another factor we'll have to see as the game goes on. But Coach Manawatu will have to be happy that he got a stop immediately out of that first quarter, and it seemed to be pleading for a lift in that defensive intensity, so he must be pleased to get that first big stop of the quarter.
McRae is becoming more and more mobile, and he's got many D1 school chasing him because 7'2" players don't come around all that often. But he's still maybe not adept at playing players like Max Darling in a man-to-man, and Manawatu are playing a man-to-man. But he definitely has proven as a 7-foot player.
From Max de Geest there.
He's proven in the middle of a zone. And if they ever wanted to go zone, maybe that's why he's not useful, because going zone against Max de Geest, Hamish McDonald and Quinn Clinton, maybe not their best option. So that's possibly another reason why we haven't seen him in the game, as Oscar Oswald goes to work in the low post.
And again, we talk about finding those mismatches. Again, if you're a perimeter player who has that ability and that size to bang in the paint against a smaller guard, that's another way you can exploit those mismatches, which Oscar Oswald really did quite well and quite easily on that last play.
Quinn Clinton with a Kevin Durant, James Harden-esque rip-through move right there.
He's wily. He's very wily.
For almost no other purpose to say, hey ref, this guy's fouling me. Max de Geest sets a flare screen. Hamish McDonald goes to work, takes it right at Cooper Boyce Towler and gets 2 points there, extending Canterbury's lead to 5 right now. The score is 24-19.
Yes, and again, that seems to be the difference in the game at the moment. For Manawatu, Hayes Walker is the only one who's been able to really get to the rim. And Canterbury have managed to get 3 or 4 guys getting good penetration. Oh, wow, that is a great pass from Quinn Clinton.
That is excellent vision to a shooter. And that is exactly why he's been playing National Basketball League for 2 years. That's why he's signed up to St. Mary's Gales next year.
You have to be a high IQ basketball player to get signed by Coach Randy Bennett of the St. Mary's Gales, and he's proven it there. Incredible passing vision, incredible peripheral vision to find that open shooter in the corner.
And that's an important point for all New Zealand guards. So any young guards watching, you know, New Zealand guards aren't always the most athletic or the fastest compared to the American guards when we go over there and play college. But if you can be the most high IQ player, if you can dissect an on-ball screen, if you have vision off the floor and can play defense, man, there's a place for you as a basketball player.
And again, we just saw in that last possession, Quinn Clinton getting whatever he wants, and those biceps do indicate that he has been playing against men for the last 2 years in our National Basketball League, and that's the huge difference I've seen in his game. His ability to use his physicality there has been really good.
As we see Max Darling get wrapped up to avoid an and one foul. And that's a smart foul. I mean, you don't want to give up an and one. You're fouling someone. Don't give them an extra point. Make them earn it from the free throw line. And I mean, we're not really seeing, as you said, Palmerston North get any deep catches. All their inside looks are through offensive rebounds or drives. So their style would almost have to change a lot to have Cullen McRae in the game, who would be predicated on deep catches rather than drives. And we're seeing Falmasili trying to drive the rim, nowhere to go, gets kicked out to Oswald. Oswald sees a big gap, and that is far too easy for the Canterbury defense. Someone needs to step up and help.
Yeah, that's too easy, especially if someone of Oscar Oswald's caliber, just to have no rim protection whatsoever there. That's not ideal. All the offense really coming from Oscar Oswald and Hayes Walker to start the game.
That's a nice pass from Oscar Oswald. Perfect pass for the situation. Any young players watching, you know, maybe perhaps under 15 players watching. Perfect wrap pass to avoid it getting tipped by the defense.
And a great job by Cooper Boyce Towler to run the rim as well. You always want that lead big to get out in transition, get to the rim and try and find those easy opportunities.
Yeah, he was in the right place. If he didn't get past the ball, he had sucked his defense away from the other players. If he was in the right place, just like he was, and his defense wasn't there, he got a layup out of it. Hayes Walker, Falmasili driving there. Nice outlet pass from Quinn Clinton, and McDonald forces Oswald to get a foul. Oswald knew it, avoided the and one by making sure the foul was nice and physical.
Yeah, they're using their physicality quite well there, Canterbury. They're using their perimeter threat to get the defense to close out at them and then attack the rim nice and aggressively, getting their shoulders into the defender and trying to finish through that. So that's again, appears to be the difference so far. Canterbury being really physical, getting to the rim.
He misses the second shot there. We see Oscar Oswald with that rebound. And Manawatu going to initiate their offense. Falmasili. And Hayes Walker going left, easy as you like. And the deceleration is a really important skill. And there's been some great articles this year on James Harden's deceleration. A reason why he's so effective in the NBA is we see Hayes Walker use the exact same skill there, and McDonald, who was on his tail, just couldn't slow down at the same rate. Easy foul. And these free throws for a player like Hayes Walker are easy money.
Automatic.
To bring the lead down to 2 or 3.
Yeah, and again, it's not always about the speed, it's about the change of speed. You're able to hesitate, use your wiles and your guile to get to the rim and try and expose the defense. It's not always about just going full bear towards the rim.
And we see Hamish McDonald and Max DeGeese coming off pin-down screens now. Shooters coming off pin-down screens is money for Canterbury because you have to respect those shooters, and it leaves Quinn Clinton isolated one-on-one at the top. And it's a great offense when you've got the players who are skilled enough to have the gravity to draw the defense out. Again,
yeah, it is about those shooters and their gravity, pulling away the help defense, and opening up those lanes as we see a great left-handed finish again from Lockie Scott. That scouting report again.
And a bit of a wild layup attempt from Harris there. As we saw Lockie Scott just get a left-hand layup, and again, it's about knowing your scouts. You know, Lockie Scott's a left-handed player. He initially went right, but straight back to his left. Another three-point shot there from Hamish McDonald, and a great subtle kick-on pass from Max de Geese there. He saw the floor before he caught. He knew what to do. Before he even caught, he knew he was going to kick it on to Hamish McDonald. And the pass went right to the pocket. Very underrated skill, but very important if you want open three-point shots. Starting to see the floodgates open a little bit now on the scoring, and it's probably going to be a battle, it looks like, of which defense can step up and actually get stops.
It's a simple game, really. Getting stops in a row, preventing the other team from scoring is a huge key. And
see Ben Harris earn some shots at the line. And we go to the line for two here. Again, interesting little lineup we've got on here, as Boyce Towler's taken a break from Manawatu now. So they're utilising small ball. We see Oscar Oswald at 6'5" is the biggest player on the floor right now for Palmerston North.
Manawatu death lineup.
We'll see if they can hit some three-point shots out of this. And maybe they're opening the key up, using their shooter's gravity to try for some drives. Hayes Walker on a step-back pull-up.
I'm not sure coach would have been super happy with that. They haven't had a good shot in a while, it feels like, and maybe they would have liked to run a bit more offense and find a bit more of an efficient shot.
So if you're Canterbury, you've got Max Darling on the court, they've got small players on the court. That's probably what you want to utilise. But
that's handy too.
Hamish McDonald says, no, no, we've got three-point shooters and we are just going to keep shooting. And he's right.
It's hard to argue with.
The junior tallback backcourt pair of Quinn Clinton and Hamish McDonald, who I don't believe have been subbed yet, are very effective and very capable three-point shooters. Max de Geese asking for a middle on ball.
And now they're going to exploit that matchup, as you said, for Max Darling, and that's what you're going to get.
There you go. and that's it. And that's basketball at this level and beyond. Where's our mismatch? Okay, let's get him the ball in good space and good time with a good pass so that we can utilize the mismatch. Max Darling gets a dunk out of it. Easy as you like. Smart basketball by Canterbury, and then soft defense from Canterbury on the flip side. And it looks like they're just going to go to that same thing. Quinn Clinton's just saying, Max, there is a small guard guarding you.
And that's hard to argue with. That again, you're going to have to send more help.
And Coach Tia Tamata Frost looks at those last two possessions and goes, we have a 7-foot player. Please go in the game and stop that from happening.
Go in there and be big, please.
Yeah, and tough shot there from Oscar Oswald. He did have Lockie Scott diving. Quinn Clinton calling for the game to be slowed down. He's going to get the ball. He's asking for an isolation. He's telling all his guards to get out of there. Saying, give Max the ball. Max will go against a bunch of guards, another dunk, and that's really soft defense. I mean, they need to at least foul him. They need to try and get him off the position. They
get the ball out of his hands, swarm him, try
all three of those guards made a business decision just then.
I can't say I'd do anything different, to be honest. That does not look like fun.
Well, that's why we're up here.
Exactly.
None of us would play on the same court as Max Darling.
No, not voluntarily.
Because he would dunk on top of our heads.
Oh, yes. Oh, great vision from Quinn Clinton. Oh.
That's unfortunate that Ben Harris couldn't finish that, but Quinn Clinton sees the game in slow motion. Hayes Walker going left, wide open three-point shot for Oscar Oswald, easy as you like. And Quinn Clinton's frustrated his teammates for that possession, and it can't be that be that easy.
No, I think he was frustrated. It seemed like Canterbury were going to go on a bit of a run there, and to give up such an easy release valve three for Manawatu, I think that would be quite frustrating for someone of such high IQ.
Ben Harris is an undersized forward. He can't be more than 6'2", and he's doing a great job in there. Yes, despite the fact that Oscar Oswald just blocked him into oblivion. He's doing a great job, got a second possession for his team, despite the fact he really has no right to be getting an offensive rebound.
And again, it's a corny...
wide open three for Oswald.
Oh, there we go.
And that's smart basketball. Drive, draws the help. Again, the value of seeing the floor. They caught it in the corner, knew instantly, players running at me, I'm kicking it on to the next player. High basketball IQs, understand the game, experienced players. DeGeese shot a three the last 2 times, chose to attack a closeout this time. Needs to add the kick-out pass to his game.
Quinn Clinton was wide open in the corner there, begging for the ball. You have to wonder why the ball wasn't kicked to him. But
clock not moving with 13.4 remaining in the second quarter.
And again, it felt like Canterbury went on an extended run for 2 or 3 minutes there, and those 2 threes from Oscar Oswald, and it's just back to a 4-point game.
And here now you're going, okay, we know what this game is now. We've spent a half in it. It's a close game. Canterbury's running 6 guys. Quinn, Hamish, Max have been on their court the entire half. Meanwhile, Palmerston North, I'm pretty sure it's just Oscar Oswald that hasn't been subbed. The rest of them rotated. They've been rotating through. What team's going to be fresher at the end, you think?
Exactly. So again, that would indicate that Manawatu would look to push the ball in transition, look to exhaust those the Canterbury with such a short rotation, and maybe again that's something that we're going to see more of in the second half, getting out in transition, trying to tire out those Canterbury players.
And for all we know, that could possibly be part of the game plan. Let's get up and down, let's get a small lineup out there, let's tire these lads out. Quinn Clinton, pull-up three with 10 seconds left in the second quarter. Questionable shot selection because now Palmerston North have 4, 3, 2, 1 to put a shot up.
Wow, huge momentum play for Manawatu at the end of the half there.
So you don't really want to take a shot with 8 seconds left in the second quarter like that, because what's going to happen is Manawatu is going to get the chance to shoot. They did get the chance to shoot and they converted. It's
a possession basketball game. If you could have limited the game to just one possession, or the half to one possession, which would have been yours, and it's better to just play that clock out.
And we're at halftime here at the North Shore Event Centre. Under-19 men's semi-final. Canterbury 46, Manawatu 44. We're in for a huge second half, so stick around and we'll take a break and see you shortly. High basketball IQs, understand the game, experienced players.
We're here to select the under-17 New Zealand boys team for 2017 to qualify for the World Championships. So, fantastic opportunity for the boys. And when we step on the floor, okay, we're in the grammar gym, you're competing with each other. When we walk back over the road, you guys are boys.
So on court, they're understanding defensively the pressure they need, offensively the structure and the discipline that they need, and then off court being taught how to manage your body.
So some of the conditioning things that we're going to have a look at are about how you train yourself for basketball using conditioning that is based around one leg.
Big thing, obviously, we're looking for good skills. Offense, can you shoot it, can you dribble it, can you pass it? We're going to hang our hats on defense with this squad. Can you slide in front of your man? Can you communicate? Can you finish a position by making a hit and boxing someone out?
If I gave you a challenge to go out and educate yourself about family violence, it's the same with us. But not because it's depressing, but because you want to be a better man, you want to be the best man you can be. You know, it can be a little bit awkward to talk about these things, but hey, everyone's doing it, no one's talking about it, and that's what part of the problem is.
Going into Asia and the new qualifying system, you know, we've got to make sure we get the right team. There's so much talent in New Zealand basketball at the moment. Giving them the opportunity to come into camp for 3 or 4 days, compete against each other, really prove themselves, it's really vital at the moment.
And welcome back to the North Shore Event Centre. We're ready for the second half of action in a very exciting basketball game between Canterbury and Manawatu. The score is 46-44. Canterbury with a slight 2-point advantage over after going on a little run.
It'll be interesting to see if that momentum that Manawatu got in the last 2 minutes or so will extend to this half. They really went on quite a good run.
A lot of ball movement from Canterbury now. Oh, an errant pass from Darling. Unfortunately, neither team's had a lot of slip-ups like that. We've been throwing errant passes. But there's another one from Canterbury as we see Hayes Walker initiating the offense with a handoff to Oswald. Kick on to Farmasili, and Mitter is wide open for 3, passes it up, but Walker will take that. Unfortunately, an air ball.
Again, Quinn Clinton in transition, that's dangerous. He has that ability to find the shooters. He sees the court. It seems to be in slow motion for Quinn Clinton, and he made the right play yet again in transition.
Yeah, definitely the right pass, and De Geest's skill at getting his feet set and shooting the ball is excellent. If he was only half a metre backwards, would have been worth an extra point.
Yes, again.
Can't doubt his shooting ability.
No.
Can't doubt Quinn's passing ability as the ball's back in his hands. Looking for a horn set here. 2 shooters in the corner. Quinn's coming off Darling's screen. Darling will dive. Collier will pop. Collier open at 3, but clearly not a 3-point shooter, so not looking to take it.
And we do have Callum McRae back in the game, was the big sort of talking point of the first half, and it'll be interesting to see if Manawatu look to exploit any potential mismatch that Callum McRae poses.
You know, you think with Collier in the game, McRae has someone that he can guard. And the man-to-man, they're sticking with their man-to-man. Yeah, Collier's not a 3-point shooter, so McRae, even in a man defense, can really camp underneath the hoop. There's no defensive 3 seconds in the international game. Great pass from Quinn Clinton right into the shooting pocket. And we're seeing McRae's value already. Since McRae's been in the game 2 minutes now, Canterbury haven't got a single second shot. They've had they're 1 and out every time. Farmasili, great drive, great kick out. Great ball movement by Palmy.
Great cut.
All 5 players just touched the ball without a single dribble. And that's unfortunate. That's all you can ask for in that
That's a good look. You just got to move on to the next play. That's a perfectly good look. They moved the ball. They got it in to Callum McRae, and he was nice and patient, and they found a good shot, and you can't be unhappy with that.
Hasn't been a lot of transition opportunities available for either team. Transition defense has been very good, and Collier
Again,
says
that rim protection.
No.
Yes, he was not letting him in there. That's fairly aggressive. That's always the thing that really caps off your shot getting blocked at the rim, is when it hits you in the head and goes out and the other team gets the ball. That's no fun.
Yeah, players will have to move on now. Ball in their hands again. Still a 2-point game, and they're looking to exploit a mismatch, but this time there's a 7-foot player and help. Great cut from McDonald, and Oswald and Walker were caught sleeping on the weak side as McDonald just walks through the lane, and an excellent pass from Darling for a Canterbury layup to put them up 4.
Great instinctual play there from Hamish McDonald. Seeing the help defence, wasn't paying attention, couldn't see man and ball. Great cut off that interior play.
Great kick-out pass from McRae. What great vision of the floor to hit an open 3-point shooter the minute before he catches. These players, the way they're playing the game, are a great example to any young players watching. Their vision, their unselfishness is really good. As we saw in the last possession, McDonald back cut. As soon as his defender lost sight of him, he back cut. And he finished his cut, whether or not he got the ball. And he ended up getting the ball and scoring a layup. As we see another errant Canterbury pass.
It does feel like the tide has turned a little bit here. It seems like Manawatu does have that momentum, and they'll look to capitalise on that now and get the lead and get a bit of that mental advantage.
And they ran through a lot of screens there to get Walker matched up with De Geest, which is the matchup they want, and De Geest managed to draw a foul. Walker managed to draw a foul on that penetration.
And again, that is that scouting report you want to follow. You don't want Hayes Walker getting to the line. He's an efficient free throw shooter. Usually, of course, commentators curse there, but usually he's an efficient free throw shooter, and you don't want him getting to the line. That's going to be automatic points. Of course, he misses both of them as I say that.
So there's a lot of college players out here on the floor, future college players. We have St. Mary's, Quinn Clinton. Max Darling was definitely generating a lot of college interest. And we're sending more and more players to college in D1. For instance, Tucky Farrenson's off to Portland, and he was a key member for Auckland Grammar, leading them to a top 4 finish last year. Lethal scorer, drops 30 or 40 points a game. A lot of players coming up in this next game as well, this next semi-final between Auckland and Waitakere, that are future college prospects as well. As we see one of them now, the St. Mary's commit, Quinn Clinton with the ball at the top of the key.
And again, they're looking to get that off-ball motion and then letting Quinn Clinton make good decisions. And again, that's a pretty good look. Hamish McDonald for the open corner 3. You can live with that.
Great little drive.
A good duck in from Callum McRae. You want him to finish that.
Great off-ball movement, working tirelessly on the O boards. Just misses that and one play. But I tell you what, since he's been in the game, you're right, the tide has really turned. His impact, I mean, it's a simple game. If you're 6 foot tall, it's very hard to get the basketball in the basket when there's a 7-foot player standing in front of you.
It does. That's sage advice, incredible coaching advice from Morgan Maskell. But yes, size matters, and it has definitely impacted the game heavily, Callum McRae's introduction to the game, especially not just his size, his ability to make those decisions in the paint, draw defenders, make the intelligent pass. It's a huge factor in Manawatu being able to take the lead now.
At its core, this is a possession game, and neither team's throwing that many turnovers, but the difference we've been seeing is that Canterbury haven't got any offensive rebounds since Callum McRae's entered the game. And what we just saw was Callum McRae get his own offensive rebound many times before getting free throws. And Canterbury look all sorts of out of sync on the offensive end. In the first half, we really only saw one occasion where just an errant pass led to an out-of-bounds turnover. We've seen 3 already halfway through the third quarter. And
you have to wonder if those minutes that the guards are playing for Canterbury may be starting to affect them, their legs, their mental fatigue may be becoming a factor on those few turnovers they've had to start the half.
Yeah, Max Darling as well. He's been in there the whole time. You know, they're a little later to closeouts now. And so here's the difference. Manawatu are getting offensive rebounds now. They're getting second possessions, and those extra possessions are extra shots. And if they can have 20 or 30 more shots at the end of the game, they're probably winning. As a great verticality from Mitter. That's excellent, and McDonald had nowhere to go. And Manawatu currently up 51-50. First lead in quite a while. And they've drawn a foul here, so they'll get the ball back with 14 seconds left on the shot clock. 3.5 minutes left in the quarter. Oswald with the ball at the top.
And Canterbury seem to be in a 2-3 zone.
Yep.
They find a great pass for Hayes Walker in the corner. Great look again.
Collier with an excellent box out there.
And Quinn Clinton in transition. This is dangerous. Great defense from Oscar Oswald. Again, great verticality at the rim. Great job from Manawatu being nice and vertical, not giving the refs a chance to call him for a foul.
You know that you're good at verticality when you have a rep for it. And Oscar Oswald came up with huge plays last year in the secondary school national final just by being vertical. You know, gets up into the area, he's an athletic player, and he's got great rim protection. So when you have a guy that can play 3-4 and protect the rim, along with your 5-man that's 7 foot tall, it's going to make it really hard for these Canterbury guards who are starting to look more and more tired as we see another turnover from Canterbury.
And again, Oscar Oswald, he has made a name for himself as a versatile player, 6'4", 6'5". He can do a bit of everything and shoot the ball, can penetrate, and again, that defense and ability to use his length at the rim makes him a really handy player, especially when you go into those smaller lineups.
Yeah, 100%. Great little hook pass there to Oswald. Great ducking from McRae. He's gone to the right-hand hook. He's known for his left-hand hook, so I mean, he's adding that versatility to his game. When he's in there, they're running like a high-low set for him to duck in.
And great ball movement from Canterbury, just couldn't get the finish from Max Darling.
Great rebound from Max Darling. Unfortunately for him, he thinks he was fouled, but doesn't get a foul call on it. Loose ball, and De Geese comes up with it. Canterbury running in transition. You're seeing Manawatu look a little tired in transition, not being able to keep up with the play. You see Walker's behind the ball. McRae's not the fastest, but Canterbury didn't manage to convert, so all for nil. De Geese mismatch in the post. Easy as you like. Mitter gives up the foul. He's going to take away ground, and really you'd think McRae's got to step up and say, I'm 7 foot tall, I need to make this hard because my guard's mismatched against a very strong big man, and then everyone else is going to need to rotate. And
again, it was just Collier in the corner who Callum McRae was marking, who hasn't proven himself to be a three-point shooter yet, so you feel like Callum McRae could have helped off of him a bit more and been a bit more help at the rim there against Max Darling, who's a handful one-on-one.
Yeah, 100%, and that and one play gives Canterbury the lead back. Great duck and play there, a little miscommunication. Falmasili stops playing. Oswald tries to save it to him. Quinn Clinton in transition, kicks out to an open Max De Geese, easy as you like. Unfortunately doesn't miss, but you can't doubt the way they're playing the game right now.
That's great basketball. And again, Quinn Clinton in transition, that's a nightmare, that's a handful, especially 3-on-2, and you've got those two shooters who can find corners. That's hard to stop.
McRae on his left hand, and Collier has no option but to foul him. And his insertion of the game has been a real impact here for Palmerston North. As we see Boyce Towler, interesting rotations from Manawatu. Their players are sitting for a long time and then they're out there for a long time as well, which may counteract the fact that Canterbury's players have been out there the whole time, because you've also got very tired players out there. As Cooper Boyce Towler, he's been sitting since the second quarter, but he's now going to come back into the game. McRae misses that one, and it is a 2-point game.
It'll be interesting. Canterbury want to get a really good look this time down. They've had a bit of a scoring drought recently, and that's
a contested mid-range shot is the opposite of that.
Yes, that's not ideal. That's a bit of a coach kill, especially that early in the shot clock. You can get that shot at any time. They probably would have liked to have moved the ball a bit more, reversed the defense, and then look for a bit more of an efficient shot.
To their credit, the teams are shooting the ball very well. Manawatu shooting 44%, and Canterbury shooting 40%. All right, so these teams are shooting the ball well. Canterbury put up 18 three-point shots as well, you know, and that speaks to their personnel. Max De Geese, Hamish McDonald, Quinn Clinton. And it's been a really great basketball game. Competitive on the rebounds, 31-28. Very tight battle. And turnovers, 5 for Manawatu, 6 for Canterbury. That's excellent.
That is at a youth basketball level. That is quite good looking after the ball.
And it speaks to the players that are out there. A lot of these players will be hoping they can go to the United States, play some Division I college basketball next year. Got some very experienced players. They've played in multiple national tournaments, both for schools and reps over the years. A lot of these players have been in Canterbury sides that came 3rd at under-17s last year, 3rd the year before that as well, 4th at under-15s in 2014. Very experienced group. This age group came 2nd in 2013 at under-15s, where Quinn Clinton, despite being on the losing team, was MVP of the tournament, putting up near triple doubles in almost every game. It's a very experienced side that's been around for a long time.
Oh, and interesting, they've called a shot clock violation before Quinn Clinton was fouled, and that's something that Canterbury aren't too happy with. Getting Quinn Clinton to the line, that's what you want.
And Falmasili puts up a prayer, and that doesn't go. So we're at the end of the 3rd quarter now. Canterbury's maintained a slim advantage, 53-52. And what we've seen is Canterbury's experience, but the reason why this game is great is that their opposition's experience as well. We're looking at the Manawatu bench now. These players have been around for a long time. We've alluded to the fact that last year Palmerston North Boys High School, which comprises most of these players, were in the final, narrowly losing to a miracle buzzer-beating shot. Palmerston North won the Under-15 National Championship in 2014. And they've been in the final in 2016 as well in under-17s, involving all of these players. So again, both of these teams have been in lots of finals, been in lots of tournaments, played at the highest levels, New Zealand's, reps, club, school, and so we're going to see really good basketball in this quarter.
It's great to see that level of basketball, especially seeing when you have these young players who have that veteran presence. They've been in big finals before. They're not afraid of the moment. They're used to being in big games, and that leads to the high standard of basketball that we've seen so far this evening.
So we're starting to see tired players now, possibly going to revert back to their norms. Canterbury's going to look to shoot a lot of threes. Can Palmy stop it? Hayes Walker's going to try drive left, pull up off the dribble. Can Canterbury stop that? We've also seen not many fast break transition opportunities were available in the first half. A lot more were available in the 3rd quarter. As you saw tired players, game open up a bit more, more scoring opportunities early in the 1st quarter. Very hard for both teams to drive. A little bit tired, a little bit slower to rotate and help, but easy to drive now. So it'll be a very interesting game to see which team's defense can step up and stop the other.
Yeah, and again, this is where that veteran experience will come into play. Quinn Clinton, again, having played at multiple levels of basketball, he's an elite player in terms of his experience and his IQ. And again, those Manawatu players who have lots of experience in big games, like you said, national rep tournaments and high school level. So this is going to be a great quarter of basketball.
So, all the best players on the floor at the start of this quarter. Oscar Oswald leading Palmerston North with 15 points. Hayes Walker also on 15. Hamish McDonald leading Canterbury with 19 points, closely followed by Max Darling on 16. And the man with the ball now, Quinn Clinton, he's on 11. Max Darling taking in the post against Boyce Towler and McRae. Collier for 3, shot clock winding down. And that is one of his first 3-point shots of the tournament. He had to take it 1 second on the shot clock. Nearly win him.
You always love that as a big man when the shot clock's winding down and you have no choice but to shoot. Your coach doesn't give you the green light. Usually you get to chuck up that big 3 at the end of the shot clock.
Shoot, Coach. I had to.
Exactly. It's great.
See Quinn Clinton with the ball coming off the screen. Collier thought about another one. He's a 3-point shooter now. Quinn Clinton, McRae showing on that screen really effectively. Clinton thought he could thread the needle to Darling at the dunker spot, but couldn't quite get there. Tipped. Canterbury ball still. Canterbury ball on the baseline. DeGeese, Collier wide open. DeGeese realizes a second late, gets on the ball. Collier can't finish. He's going up.
Again,
McRae.
having Callum McRae has been the difference again, meeting him at the rim. Oh, and that's tough again. Max Darling, it's hard to finish over him at the rim with that athleticism and length.
That is pretty.
That is good basketball right there. There's not much more you can say about that. That is beautiful.
He realised there was a defender running at him, caught it at his chin and kept it high, did not dip a single inch and shot the basketball. You can say what you like about dipping versus not dipping, but in a moment like that where if you dipped you would get blocked, you need to know how to not dip.
Yes, you see shooters like Clay Thompson, that high release, that quick release, that really makes the difference when you've got that defender closing out at you.
Good little 1-2 between Harris and Collier there. Unfortunately, they did not convert. So Manawatu's grabbed the lead now. We have 8 minutes remaining in this match. Canterbury, long time between drinks, haven't won a national title in many, many years at the junior level. Palmerston North, they've won one title in the last 5 years, 2014, under 15 national championship. As we're seeing the effects of the fourth quarter now, the incredibly stagnant Canterbury offense right now. All players standing in one spot, watching a player with the ball move. That's not effective for them. McRae is doing a really good job showing on screens as well. And there have been other times where the ball's been stagnant, and what did we say they should do? Give the ball to Quinn Clinton.
That's a good strategy in my opinion. Yeah, that's tough. You can't do much more on defense, having a hand up in his face, having to double pump to get the shot off, and he nails it in your face. You just got to move on to the next one. Can't get too down about that.
Falmasili with the ball, 3 seconds on the shot clock. Gives it to McRae. McRae with a nice mid-range jump shot. Given his impact, it's surprising he's had out the first 18 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you have to wonder what the story is. Maybe carrying an injury, maybe some sort of disciplinary thing. I mean, it's hard to know. It's just very obvious the huge impact he's had on the game since he's been out there.
We're seeing, though, Canterbury have had good results going to that Darling low post deep catch, and he's been able to get a shot off because he has a freakish wingspan. But the 7-foot player, Callum McRae, needs to step up instead of trying to reach from where he's standing. Force Darling to kick it out somewhere. Force him to kick it out to your man, Collier. See Darling missing the first. Showing a lot of faith in Darling by not having anyone line up for the free throw.
Yeah, you got to admire the confidence of that one.
Yeah, he rewards their faith by hitting it and gives Canterbury a 2-point lead now, 60-58. Canterbury have had a lot of success since they switched to a 2-3 zone.
Oh, that's a great pass.
He was open for a good couple of seconds beforehand, but once he saw McRae there, he made an excellent bullet pass that was impossible to tip off, and they had no choice but to foul McRae. Although, if he passed the ball a few seconds earlier, perhaps an open layup for McRae.
And again, that is how you have to try and pick apart the zone defense, especially the 2-3. Try and find that. If you can get that the ball moving around, get those interior passes and pick apart the zone, then you might have to make Canterbury make a decision to get out of it, and that's how you beat it.
I am thoroughly enjoying the confidence each team has in their free throw shooters.
Is it confidence or laziness? I feel like it may be a combination of both.
Do you think the players are not trying to get offensive rebounds on their own volition, or they're being coached to get back?
I'm not sure.
It's interesting. It's always interesting when teams do that, especially for players that, while they're good players, aren't necessarily easy money at the free throw line. Quinn Clinton from 3, feeling it.
That's the impact of playing 34 consecutive minutes in a basketball game. Once your legs start to waver.
And we're just saying hello to Josh's mum here. She's come to visit.
Isn't that nice? Stand. She came and said hi to me. What a lovely lady.
Oscar also just burns Max Darling. And there's no help side. Tying the game up at 60.
Those legs, those Canterbury legs, have been out there for 3 players have played the entire game. And it's starting to really pay off here for Manawatu. Canterbury slow to move their feet.
And we're seeing Hamish McDonald open for 3. Misses that, unfortunately. So game all tied up, 60 each, 5.5 minutes left, and they dump it down to McRae against Collier in the low post. No help available. Ooh. Nice spin move. Takes it to his weaker right hand. It's good to see because, I mean, in years past, McRae's been heavily reliant on his left hand, and the easy scout has been, make him go right. And he's showing the inclination to go right, which there's going to be serious trouble for people, not only in secondary school nationals, not only for the under-19 world champs coming up, but for colleges next year and whatever else his future holds.
And that shows a real desire to develop as well, being keen to work on your right hand. Your weak hand is one thing, but actually going out there and using it in games, trying to get better, that shows a keen urge to develop.
Yeah, 100%. Quinn Clinton has the ball now. Famasili with him on defense, running that horn set again, and Hayes Walker, good hands, just tips the ball and causes Quinn Clinton to lose the grip on a shot there. And as you alluded to before, Canterbury, 3 of their players have played the whole game.
Ooh.
But many of the Palmerston North players, Oscar Oswald's played the whole game. Callum McRae has played the entire second half. Tama Famasili's been out there a little while. Hayes Walker's been out there most of the second half as well. You know, they're relying on their players. Not a lot of rotating going on here. But as we said at the beginning of this quarter, it's going to come down to whose defense can get it done.
Again, it's very easy for us to talk about the rotations from up here, but you will be inclined to try and have your best basketball players on the court playing basketball. That tends to be a sound strategy. So again, it's easy to say for us.
Yeah, that's 100% right, and you can see both coaches believe right now they have their best 5 players on the floor. And we see Coach Tamata Frost wants a timeout. So he hasn't used the timeout in the second half, so he's got 1 to burn. May as well burn it. He sees a sideline inbounds play. It'll be really interesting to see because we haven't seen a lot. I don't believe there were many timeouts, if any, in the first half. It'll be really interesting to see what is Coach Tamata Frost there going to draw up out of the timeout for them on a sideline inbounds play.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Potentially some sort of cross-screen action to try and get Callum McRae a good look. They've got a couple of options, probably Hayes Walker also coming off an on-ball. They've got, again, good offensive versatility, as both sides do. It'll be interesting to see what they draw up.
Yeah, there's a multitude of options they can do. The matchup they probably want is DeGeest, matching up against one of their elite guards. Probably want to go at him a little bit, test him. Alternatively, you could say, let's try and tire out Quinn Clinton, their best player, by going at him, making him tired on the defensive end after he's played 36 minutes. You could try and take advantage of Collier and Darling's tiredness with a cross-screen action, like you said. So it'll be really interesting to see almost the first available after timeout play of the game.
Here we go, and Canterbury defense has just fallen asleep, and they had Oscar Oswald for a wide open 3 out of a timeout. That's unforgivable from the Canterbury players. They were really fortunate that 3 wasn't buried there.
So that was probably the messiest sequence of play in the game. Alluded to the fact earlier that Canterbury came 3rd in under-17s in 2015, and very famous for a play for a game where they were up 18 with 7 minutes left and lost the lead to Waikato and ended up not making the final because of that. And we're starting to see errors that were present then sneak into the game here. It's always fun to see what will happen in youth basketball when a game is close and the pressure is on.
A great finish inside there from Cooper Boyce Towler, and that brings it back to a 2-point game. Wow, and that's a huge shot from Hamish McDonald. You can rely on him to put the ball in the bucket.
Sure can. And we're seeing Oscar Oswald and Hayes Walker. They've played the whole game. Walker gives it to Oswald. Great offense.
Oh, great help.
I mean, that is a folly that a lot of young players fall into. I was open. I've got the ball next to the hoop. Now I'm not open. I'm still going to try and shoot it. You know, he should have just kicked it out, and probably there were some shooters open. Speaking of shooters open, unlucky.
Yeah, they dodged one there, Manawatu.
I mean, with less than 3 minutes left, to get an 8-point lead on that shot would have been huge for Canterbury. Instead, 5-point game.
You want to get a really good look here. And this is a good way to go about getting it. Great cut.
Great cut from Walker.
Great step through.
Excellent. And Canterbury are asking for a timeout here. Not sure if they're going to get it. Yep, there we go. So they do get it. So again, it's the timeout to burn. All right, so they'll still have 2 timeouts in the last 2 minutes. So the ball will be in the backcourt for Canterbury. But obviously, if they can get a score and a stop, all of a sudden they've got the ball with about 1:40 left. Up 5. You know, so right now the score is 67 Canterbury, 64 Manawatu. And it's a good opportunity as well, this timeout that Canterbury's taking for Coach Tamata Frost to draw up the next play for Palmerston North as well. So on the run, here's our next offense, here's the look we want. It's a score and a stop is vital for each team right now. If Canterbury get it, they're in a very good position to win this game. If Palmerston North get it, all of a sudden, anybody's ball game.
Yeah, and they're getting a lot of good looks off those penetration passes to Callum McRae at the moment, and then getting good cuts to the rim. So you'd have to think that would be a good option for them, even if it's just to play out and find options for other people. Getting it inside to Callum McRae has really worked out quite well for Manawatu this evening.
Exactly. Looking at the live stats now, you can see Oscar Oswald, Hayes Walker played the whole game. And why not? Oscar Oswald, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Hayes Walker, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And then you have Canterbury's best player, Quinn Clinton, the triple-double, near a triple-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. They get it. Wow. They leave Quinn Clinton
That is not the look you want to give up.
For 3. And Coach Tamata Frost is not happy with his team. And why not? You cannot leave Canterbury's best player, a known marksman, wide open for 3. Very stagnant offense right now from Manawatu. Other than Walker's Cup, they're not much on, but you're seeing McRae's impact. Since he's been in the game, he's been a force for them.
And again, you don't want him stepping back to that left-hander, done well, forcing him to his right, reading that scouting report like we alluded to earlier, but that time they let him get back to his left hand, and that's where he's so dangerous.
Running that breaker trans now, McDonald comes off. They're looking for Darling in the post. De Geese drives in and he's fouled on the dribble. So both teams only on 2 fouls right now, so both teams still a few fouls away from the bonus. Yeah, Callum McRae has 10 rebounds since he's entered the game.
Going to run a horn set for Quinn Clinton, put the ball in his hands, let him make good decisions, and that's a phenomenal pass. And that's a huge shot from Hamish McDonald. Put the ball in your best player's hands and let him make decisions. That's a foolproof way to get yourself an easy basket.
Yeah, and that's exactly why St. Mary's have signed him. Surround him with great players, he'll find you.
Great take from Hayes Walker.
Seeing great players make great plays right now. 5-point game. A stop here with less than a minute to go is crucial.
So crucial.
If they give up a basket here, they're perhaps done. Horn set for Quinn Clinton. McRae showing hard, doubling the ball. He's fine, Darling. Great high-low, great kick out,
ball movement.
Great basketball.
Oh, so unfortunate.
That ball deserved to go in. That was some phenomenal late-game basketball that you don't often see anywhere around the world at junior level. Oswald.
Oh, it's not what they really needed to score there.
As the backside read on that, open for 3 on that right wing. Unfortunately, Boyce Taylor just couldn't handle that pass from Oswald. And what do you do here? 33 seconds. Do you foul? Do you play defense?
You're going to have to try and get yourself into the bonus, I think, with a few fouls here. Get up to that 15 foul, maybe start to trap before you get a quick foul. It's an interesting decision the coaches have to make here.
And it's a real killer, having to foul a team that's so good at foul shooting.
Yeah, you're trying to funnel the ball potentially to either Collier or Max Darling. If you're Manawatu, you want to be fouling those people. Everyone else, Max de Geest, Quinn Clinton, Hamish McDonald, those are all excellent free throw shooters.
Counterpoint. Max Darling, 3 or 4 from the free throw line this game, 75%. So he's probably a little offended by those remarks.
And he has every right to be. That's a great point.
Whereas Max de Geest hasn't shot a free throw yet. Quinn Clinton hasn't shot a free throw yet. And Hamish McDonald only shot 2 free throws so far. Is 1 of 2 and is a known marksman, though, a great 3-point shooter.
He's proven me right, finally. It's only taken the entire game, and I've said something that's made sense. Thank you, Hamish McDonald. Great job.
And we have a timeout for Manawatu now.
And you're in a bit of a desperation situation. You're starting to...
Yeah, seven points is a 3-possession game.
Yeah, you're starting to think about needing multiple threes here. You probably want to get something aggressive going to the hoop, nice and quick, and then look to trap out of that and see if you can generate some turnovers, because you're in a pretty dire situation when you think about the possession game left now, down 3 possessions. And again, for Canterbury, it's just about being smart with the ball here. Again, you want your best free throw shooters to have the ball in their hands, be nice and strong, not panic, not turn the ball over. Those are the keys right now. Just be safe with the ball, safe and smart with good composure.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, up 7. I mean, that was a huge make from Hamish McDonald there. When you're down by more than a possession late in the game, less than a minute left, you have to get a stop. And it's no fault of Manawatu. They were fine, they rotated, but big shot from Hamish McDonald. And then big free throws from Hamish McDonald. All right, obviously looking for a 3-point shot there. They've positioned 2 bigs on the elbows here, so you wouldn't be surprised if they were looking for a through-the-gate play for Hayes Walker.
Wow, that's a big shot from Oscar Oswald. The game is over if he doesn't make that shot. That's huge from distance to keep his team in the game.
Well, so that is a 4-point game now. A bit of a debate as to whether it was a 2 or 3, which seems silly because it was the deepest 3 of the game so far.
Absolutely, it seemed like he was in his own half there, yes, and they've finally corrected that.
So Quinn Clinton, his first free throws of the game with 20 seconds left, up 4. Even if he misses both, still a 2-possession game. Of course, I'm sure everyone on the Canterbury side would much prefer he hit both of these. Call as you like, the net barely moves on the first free throw. And he hits that second one, and Coach Tomato Frost will use his final timeout, down 5 with 20 seconds left.
Yeah, so again, we're in that territory of Manawatu needing to find a 3-pointer here to bring it back to a 1-possession game, and then trying to foul and work their way, to claw their way back into the game here. But any more misses and you have to feel like the game's over for Manawatu.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're in a pretty tough position. I mean, as great as Oswald's miracle 3 is, we're asking for at least minimum 2 more miracle 3s. Best of luck. Canterbury know what they need to do. And Canterbury even have 3 fouls to give if they really want to play that game as well.
You don't feel like Canterbury would risk that any 4-point play situation, so they'll be nice and conservative, you have to think.
This is the 3rd after timeout play now for Coach Tomato Frost. First one, Canterbury's defense was asleep. It was just a basic pass to Oswald for a 3. Second one, Walker didn't get that look they wanted. This time Walker's got it, Famasili, and that's an air ball.
And that will just about do it.
Bit of camaraderie there between the 2 junior Tall Black teammates, Cullen McRae and Hamish McDonald. Manawatu have been valiant in this tournament so far. I mean, they've gone through undefeated. They had a huge 6-point win against Harbour V. A good win against the other Canterbury side and a 50-point win against the Waikato Country side. And they were excellent this morning in their quarter-final, which they played against Waikato.
Yeah, now once it's back out to that 3-possession game, that's just about it. Out of timeouts, you're in a pretty dire situation. It seems to be the players are coming to grips with that now.
Meanwhile,
you see it on their faces.
For Canterbury, it'll be one of their first finals in the men's junior side of New Zealand basketball tournament since 2013, where they finished 2nd. In pool play, they lost to Auckland by 1. And Auckland is in the other semi-final that's next. They beat Harbour, beat Taranaki. They won their quarter-final, and now 81-71. They have run out winners against Manawatu, and they'll be going to a national final, a new experience for a lot of these players. And from here at the North Shore Event Centre, congratulations to Canterbury. They're going to the final of the Under-19 Boys Championships, 81-79. Stick with us. Up next, 5:45 p.m. tip-off, Auckland versus Waitakere. Again, featuring a number of top players. It'll be a real great game. See you soon.